Hey guys, my name is Olivia and this is Big Wave, my 1967 Pontiac Tempest, and this car is my daily driver. I have been driving this car every single day for the last 2.5 years now here in Southern California, and I get a ton of questions about it. So today I wanted to share my personal experience of what it's been like driving an old car every day and answer some of the most common questions that I get. Also later in the video, I'm going to be doing some maintenance on the car, but before I get to all that, I thought I'd share the backstory and how I even came to owning this boat right here. Well, in my early 20s, I was obsessed with the Pontiac GTO, and my favorite year was 1967. And in my early 20s, I did not have the money to purchase a GTO. They were far out of my budget, and so I kind of gave up on it. And when I was 23, I remember I was scrolling through Marketplace one day, and this thing popped up. And it popped up not too far from where we're at. And it was within my budget, and I saw it, and I was like, you know, it's not a GTO, but it is a Tempest, and if you know anything about those cars, they're exactly the same, you know, with different trim and different engine options. So this Tempest here is basically a base model version of a GTO. So I was perfectly cool with that. I didn't mind at all. And so I picked this thing up for $5,500. So it's funny, the car looks exactly the same, like from the exterior, as the day I bought it, but under the hood, underneath the car, the interior, it's all been redone. It is really, really nice, and I'll show you that here in just a little bit. But yeah, it was basically a 1.5 year long project of completely transforming the car into what we have here today. So it was a lot of work, a lot of time, a lot of money, but this is truly my dream car. I love driving it. And yeah, so there's Big Wave looking all cute. Let's do a little walk around on the car so you guys can kind of see what I'm talking about and what's all been done to it, because it's a lot. Starting off with the exterior, so this is the way I purchased the car. I personally love the patina look on it. Some people hate it. I love it. I especially love that this is the original paint here. This is a factory color called Montreux Blue, and I think it looks absolutely beautiful. And yeah, I don't mind that it's a little weathered, a little beaten up, because it just makes the car so much more low maintenance. And when I drive it, I don't have to worry too much about it. Like, trust me, I'm protective of this car, but you know, a little tiny ding is not gonna throw off the whole look. I mean, as you can see, it's got a lot of scratches and dents kind of throughout. That was done by the original owner, this little old lady who would drive it. She clearly did not know how to park the car. But hey, other than that, it's really solid. Virtually no rust when I bought it. That was the great thing. I did some work to the footwells on the driver and passenger side, but it really wasn't much. And then underneath the hood, so Pontiac purists are gonna hate me, but this car originally came with a Pontiac overhead cam 6, which is Pontiac's weird inline 6 that they made. It was really ahead of its time. Really cool engine, but when I bought this car, it didn't run, and I tried to get it running, and upon taking it apart, the thing had wiped like 5 cam lobes. It was just in no condition to be running, so basically I never put it back together, and I did a swap instead. So I'll show you that. So here is my 6-liter LS. I did not just swap this engine in, I did a full build on it, like from oil pan all the way up top of the intake there. I built this thing myself, and I'm really proud of it. It was my very first engine I've ever built. But yeah, I was using a 6-liter block, still a stock stroke. The only thing I did was I switched out for flat top pistons, and I did AFR's Enforcer series cylinder heads. And the whole thing is controlled by the Holley Terminator X Max. So 6-liter LS for the engine, and then behind it is a 4L80E transmission. Super beefy, super tough. I love that thing. It's got overdrive. It's just the ultimate freeway cruiser. This thing has done so many road trips and has been so reliable for me while also making really good power. I think my best quarter-mile ET was a 1271 at 109 miles an hour. So it moves, you know, when you need it to, it'll get down. And then, you know, as far as suspension goes, I completely changed out everything for QA1's abody suspension. So it comes with control arms, single adjustable coilovers, front and rear sway bar. It's got the single adjustables in the back as well. And then I have Wilwood disc brakes here, front and back. And I have manual brakes. So it's got some really, really nice parts. I was able to, you know, save a bit of money on the car and invest in what personally I think where it counts. And then I have to show you guys this because I'm so proud. In the back here, I changed out the factory rear end for this Mosier 12 bolt. So it is a crate rear end. It's a little bit hard to see, but I was really proud of that. That was a major deal, was changing the rear end. It's got 373 gears, posi, so just a really great combination, and it's made it so much fun to daily drive. And then the interior, when I bought this car, it looked a mess. And so I spent a little bit of money sprucing up the interior, and I'm really happy with how it turned out. So these are the original seats that came in the car, but I just had them reupholstered, refoamed, so they're like brand new, but they still utilize like that same design as it would have from factory, with like the darker insert and then the lighter blue surrounding it. So I tried to keep that looking the same. It's got headliner, and then the door cards here are the factory door cards, so that's why they're a little bit beat up and weathered. Unfortunately, they don't make these anymore in this color, so I'm pretty much stuck with these until I can find something better. But I don't mind, it's not perfect. I did the carpet because it had like that vinyl flooring in it before. And then the dash, while it does look pretty factory, I've done some stuff. So it has Dakota digital gauges, which I don't know if you can really tell unless I turn them on. I mean, they look really dang close. So this is Dakota Digital's RTX line, and my buddy Shannon from Redline Gauge Works hooked me up. And then over here is the controls for the Vintage Air, heat and AC, really nice in a daily driver. This switch here was for line lock, but I actually disconnected it because I did not want to just keep going through tires. So right now it's disconnected. And then I have a stereo in the car, which bumps. I mean, that stereo sounds so good. I got speakers in the back, and then you can't really see, but behind the vent there, I have other speakers. So it just, man, playing music in this car, it's pretty sweet. So that's a little look at the interior. But yeah, it was a lot of work, but I'm really happy with it. I love the duality of having like kind of a ratty looking car, but with a really nice and well cared for interior. Okay, let's get into it. Let's answer some of your questions. So not only are people curious about what it's like to daily drive an old car, but a lot of people are curious about what it's like to do it here, specifically in California. And I get it, there's a lot of misconceptions out there about some of the laws that apply to vehicles, and a lot of rumors go wild. But I will say, in my experience, I haven't had to deal with pretty much anything related to, emissions, or there's talks of like people getting tickets for loud exhaust. I personally haven't had to deal with any of that. Been pretty good. What's cool about my car being a 67 model year is that my car is smog exempt. So I don't have to do any type of emissions testing. Here in California, if you have a 1976 and newer car, you'll have to do a smog check every 2 years. But this being older, I don't have to do that. So that's pretty nice. Another question people are really curious about is gas consumption and how much it costs to drive something like this every day. With my car being LS swapped, I get a little over 15 miles to the gallon. To some people, that's pretty good. Other people, that's horrendous. I think it just depends who you ask. I think this car could get better fuel economy if I would just take the time to get it properly tuned. I had this car tuned once when we first built it, and then after that, I haven't looked at it since. So I'm willing to bet it could get better fuel economy, but I just haven't really looked into it. And typically here in California, I pay between $4 and $5 a gallon, which I know it can be pretty hard to stomach, but at this point, I don't even look at the pump. I'll just swipe my card because it is what it is. I mean, what am I gonna do? Not get gas? So I'm pretty, stuck with that. But at the same time, living in a place like California where we have 70-degree weather year round, I mean, that's the cost of it. So I just chalk it up to that. People also ask me what's been my experience with the law and have I had any run-ins with the police. I'm a pretty safe driver. Danny will say that I drive like a grandma. I don't drive very crazy at all because I'm just trying to protect this thing. So I really haven't had any issues with the law. I've been pulled over twice, and the first time was for rolling a stop sign. So that had nothing to do with the car. But the second time was actually because of my license plates. So when I first bought this car, it had the old school California blue plates on it, which I loved so much. And for the first year or so of driving it, I would run the blue plates on the car. Well, finally, an officer had pulled me over at night, and he said that, your plates aren't coming up in the system, what's going on? And so I was honest with him, I explained it, and he was really cool. He was just like, just swap your plates as soon as you can, and I won't write you any ticket. So that's really been it. You hear talks of those exhaust tickets, and I haven't had that issue because, this car has true dual exhaust, but I run pretty big mufflers on it. And that's because, daily driving it, I don't need a super loud exhaust. I don't need to show off everywhere I go and get attention. I kind of like it a little more muted and a little more, under the radar. So I haven't dealt with that. And personally, I don't know anybody who's actually received a exhaust ticket. So not to say that it doesn't happen, I just don't think it's as common as the internet would make it seem. One of the most common questions I get asked is about reliability. And in my case, my car has been fully upgraded in every way. It's not, people argue, they're like, that's not really an old car anymore, it's just the shell. But it's different because while it's not old components, everything that's on this car was assembled and built by myself and my fiance. And so it was just us two putting the thing together. So there's still some room for error, you know? It's not like a bone stock car you can get from the factory and everything has been perfectly engineered. There's little things about it, little quirks. And so I guess to answer that question, it's been very reliable. I've only broken down once, and that was the very first time we drove the car. So for this car's maiden voyage, we drove it over 300 miles to Mammoth for a family fishing trip. The car had never been on the road before, and we decided we're gonna take it all the way up there. And it pretty much made it there. It was like within like 10 miles of our destination. And I heard this ticking sound, and we popped the hood and we're listening and we're like, this is bottom end. This is a big issue. So we just shut it off, and I had the thing trailered home. So we got it back, figured out I had torched a piston, because if you've ever been to Mammoth, you know, all the giant hills you gotta climb. We were pretty much flying up the hills, and I guess things got very hot and I torched a piston. So it was a learning lesson for me. It was a really fun trip overall, and just like a hilarious story to tell now. And so yeah, it's only broken down once, and other than that, it's just been like little small things like a leak or a sensor gone bad and just diagnosing and replacing it. But what's cool about daily driving a car like this is you become so in sync with the car. Like, me and Big Wave are one. I know everything this car is gonna do and when it's gonna do it. I know every sound. I know if I hit a bump, you know, what's gonna happen. I know when the engine's happy and when it's not. And most recently, I had an O2 sensor fail. And so it was throwing off the tune. The car was like running super rough, and at first we thought it could have been like an ignition issue or like a vacuum issue, but we later found it was the O2 sensor and swapped it out, and it runs great. So that's a little perk to driving something like this, is you become so in tune with your car, and it's just the best feeling. Okay, next question I get asked is if the car gets a lot of attention on the road. And the answer to that is yes and no. I find in town here, the car pretty much flies under the radar, and I'm able to, you know, drive around, get my errands done, and I don't really get stopped too often. Maybe I'll get a thumbs up every now and then, but you know, when we take it other places, like when we're cruising on PCH, or if we go to a restaurant, or especially at the gas stations, that's when I'll get more people, you know, they compliment the car, or they're telling me stories of a car that they used to own, or maybe something that they're actively working on. That's usually when people open up and will, you know, chat with me about it. But in my experience, I find that people are mostly curious about the fact that I'm a girl driving an old car like this. You know what I'm saying? It's not so much about the car itself. I usually don't get asked about, you know, what engine does it have, or anything about the mechanicals or the build. It's more about me, and they'll ask, you know, how did you get into cars? And, you know, is that your dad's car? And just things like that. So, you know, it gets attention, but that's not really what I'm shooting for with something like this. I built this car because I love it. It's my dream car, and I love to cruise it. So, you know, while it's nice to receive compliments, it's also like, you know, I'm not driving it because I want attention. That would just be really weird. So, yeah. And the final question, what is the best and worst part about daily driving a car like this? Well, I'd say I'll start with the negative. I think the worst part is just being so overly protective of it. So I drive very cautiously. I also realize, you know, this thing doesn't have airbags, so I got to be really careful, leave proper distance, and just understand that if anything were to ever happen, it's going to be really hard to replace parts on it or to get it back to how it is. So I'm just a very overly cautious driver, and I also worry a little bit about parking it in places where I can't see it. Granted, we live in a really good area, but when we take it further distances, you know, you never know who's around, and I do sometimes worry about it being stolen or damaged. But like I said, here in town, it's good, it's pretty safe, so I have no worries when I'm around here. And then the best part about driving a car like this is it just makes life more fun and more exciting. And I think it's really easy to get, you know, caught up in the day-to-day and be miserable, you know, running errands, going to the grocery stores and doing, you know, the day-to-day life. But when you drive a fun car, it makes it so much more exciting. Like, I genuinely look forward to going to the grocery store and to running errands and to going to the parts store. It's just an excuse to drive it, and I love driving it. So that is the best part. It just makes life so much fun and exciting. If you have the means to, I'd highly recommend it. Well, that's enough yapping. I hope I answered most of your questions, but now we're gonna get on to doing some maintenance on the car. It's really simple today. We're just gonna do an oil change on the car. I went to O'Reilly Auto Parts and I got what I needed. Also brought out the little portable air compressor so I can check tire pressure. And then in here in the engine bay, I don't know if you can see on the firewall there, but I have the old O2 sensor kind of zip tied to the harness. And that was because when we were diagnosing this, you know, in case the O2 sensor didn't end up being the problem, I just wanted to still keep it there so I could just plug it back in. But you know, it ended up being faulty. So we're gonna pull that one and remove it. And then another thing I wanna check on is my trans cooler. So maybe 2 weeks ago, I noticed a slight leak happening from the bottom hose. It's not leaking anymore, but I just wanna check and see how it's looking under there. And then the final issue, which is a little bit of a new issue, it's just started happening this week, but I've been noticing a trans fluid leak. So I'm guessing it's coming from one of the lines to the 4L80E, but we will see. I need to get under there with a flashlight and check. But yeah, really simple stuff. So let's get to it. Something as simple as pulling an O2 sensor, and I'm already so dirty, but it's off. Okay, next I'm just checking on that trans cooler leak, and it looks good. It's not wet here. Yeah, okay, so this is still fixed. Perfect. Okay, I don't know how easy this is gonna be to show, but I think I already found the issue. If you look at the drain plug there, it has a little leak. So I just need to tighten that up. So that was an easy find. So I'm gonna just grab a wrench and tighten that up a little more. I don't know if you guys are gonna be able to see what I'm doing, but I just gotta get it done. So let's get that filter off. Oh my gosh, I did this so bad. Where's the rag? There we go. It's definitely a little darker than it usually is, but I've also gone a lot longer between oil changes, so that could be it. Okay, I just inspected the oil and it's all good. Even ran a magnet through and I'm not getting any metal bits. I mean, it's darker than I'd like to see for sure, but it's okay. This is why we're doing an oil change. So I'm gonna get my O'Reilly stuff here, and then you'll notice I'm gonna be struggling to pour the oil in, and that's because somebody switched my valve cover around and put the fill all the way in the back. And while I could just switch it, I am being so lazy today, I do not want to do it. Mostly just because the gasket on this valve cover is kind of a pain in the butt to get back on. So I'm gonna save that for another day. It's fine. We're gonna get it done. Okay, this is so risky, but we're just gonna send it. Okay, one more quart. Okay, oil change is handled, and while we're here, I figure let me just check the coolant level. Come on, this thing is so annoying. There we go. Let's see. Oh yeah, we are good. So coolant is fine. And then last thing I'm gonna do is check tire pressure. Yeah, right now it's at 25 pounds. It could use a little more. All right, tire pressure is set. Also off camera, I kind of ran the car for a little bit and just added a touch more oil. I also went around all the wheels and just made sure all the lug nuts were still tight. So we're good there. I even went out of my way and I kind of cleaned up the engine a little bit. I just used some brake cleaner and just kind of got rid of all the dust and dirt that was accumulating. But speaking of brake cleaner, there's something I really want to show you guys. So hang on one sec. So a few days ago, this package shows up in the mail, and I can't even lie to you guys, I already opened it, but I wanted to reopen it on camera because it's just the coolest ever. Look what O'Reilly sent. It was kind of like a delayed Valentine's gift, but check it out. It's a freaking chocolate brake cleaner can, and it's the size of an actual can. Let me show you. I thought this was so cute. Look at this. Oh my gosh. This is the first time I've seen them side by side. Look at that. Okay, we gotta open this up and try it out. Oh my gosh. I don't even want to eat it. It's too cute. It does have a bit of weight to it, so I wonder if it's actually a solid piece of chocolate or if it's hollow. I don't know, but let's find out. Okay. Okay. It's hollow. Oh my gosh, that is so good. I need another bite. That is dang good chocolate too. They did some quality stuff. Look at the little brake rotor there. Oh my gosh, that's so good. Thank you so much, O'Reilly, for sending this. That was so adorable. But anyway, guys, that's gonna do it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you'd like to support the channel, you can head over to gnarlyspeedshop.com and pick up some really sweet merch. And also, let me know if you daily drive a classic car. Leave a comment down below. Let me know what you drive and where you're from. But yeah, guys, thank you for watching. We'll see ya.